One, two, three. Hi, welcome back again to another episode of Living in China series, coming all the way from China. Living in a foreign country comes with different challenges, struggles, and problems. What are the everyday struggles of foreigners living and working in China? If you are here and you like this kind of content, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video, and let's go to the channel together. Peace out.
Mainly, I guess it's language. Of course, there are not that many people that speak English.
The restrictions, the uncertainty that we've experienced during the last 3 years were, for me, the biggest challenge that I've experienced in the 20 years in Shanghai.
The struggle of the past few years have been friends leaving. This has been the biggest struggle. So we've got...
Oh yeah, and sometimes visa issues can be a challenge as well for if you don't have a good job or a school, your own business actively. Some of the
you can go
things.
to places they won't accept foreigners for hotels, and you have to pay for 5-star when maybe you might not have the money, but there are certain rules they have that makes life complicated and stressful for foreigners. But
Thank you. All right. How long have you been in China?
Dominic, I'm from Quebec City in Canada. I've been in China actually since 97. Actually, the recent struggle, because obviously, look, I've been here so long that I do fit in. Otherwise, I would have left. The struggle of the past few years have been friends leaving. This has been the biggest struggle. So we've got kids also today, and obviously, some of my friends, but also their friends have been leaving. So this has been the toughest, I think, in the past few years outside of the overall COVID, right? Otherwise, life in China nowadays, I'm almost local in a sense, right? And so, but it's true now with, back to normal, maybe some of those people may decide to come back, which would be great news.
All right. So my name is Lawrence Hübschmann. I'm half German, half British. And I've been in China for about 10 years, although before Corona I was moving between Germany and China a lot. What are some of the challenges that foreigners or you have faced in your life here for 10 years?
My Chinese is not that good, so nobody speaks English very well, and sometimes it's hard to understand some Chinese cultural things, but I guess the longer you are here, the more used you get to it, and some things make actually more sense to you when you get used to them.
Oh yeah, and sometimes visa issues can be a challenge as well for if you don't have a good job or a school, your own business actively. Working. Yeah, people complain about visa problems. Again, it also depends on which province or which city you belong to. So yeah, I think these are some of the practical things.
You can go to places they won't accept foreigners for hotels, and you have to pay for 5-star when maybe you might not have the money, but there are certain rules they have that makes life complicated and stressful for foreigners. But in general, I think it's just up to you and your mentality. You have to adapt to the system in order to take advantage of it. But if you sit down and complain for the system to turn around and work for you, you just waste your time and go back home empty-handed. Yeah,
about the hotel issue, I have an experience. My first time in Shanghai, I went to 7 hotels and none of them were willing to pick me, both high class and low class, and so it was a struggle for me. I later found, on my 8th search, I found a place. It was a real struggle. So yeah, something like that is also a challenge for foreigners, in my opinion.
Hi, I'm Joanna. I'm from Germany, and I've been in China for 20 years now.
You've been in China for 20 years. What are some of the challenges and the struggles you've been here?
Well, I think the last 3 years were the top of the struggles that I've seen, right? Especially the Shanghai lockdown that was very tough on all of us. The restrictions, the uncertainty that we've experienced during the last 3 years were, for me, the biggest challenge that I've experienced in the 20 years in Shanghai.
Some of the struggles of foreigners here.
First, that not all Chinese people speak English. It's a big barrier, language barrier. Also, to understand all these WeChat, Alipay issues that are not common in other countries. So as soon as you get all the Chinese applications and you understand a little bit how it functions in China, so it becomes a little more easier.
Being here for 14 years, you were born here.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you go through as a kid growing up in China?
I don't think there are many challenges apart from like when we couldn't leave. Because it's very like international and like everything's very nice here.
All right. Thank you so much.
Language is the first thing, yeah, because I always say that this place would have been very, very perfect if they spoke English or we speak Chinese very well, yeah. But then, yeah, language is one thing, and one very annoying thing too is transaction. Because everything you need, there are a lot of opportunities, apps and businesses opportunities, and many things you want to register and take advantage of, but you need a Chinese ID, and it's very, very stressful to go over. Even when you want to convert your own money into maybe dollars or euros or any, it's very stressful for a foreigner, yeah. So it kind of gives you a limitation to what you want to do or what you have to do, because when you look at the process that you have to go through, I think yesterday we were talking about how you are working and you don't like your job, but if you think about the visa process alone you go through, you just suck it up and do it anyway. Unlike if you were a local, if the system was accommodating of such a thing, it would have been simpler. So yeah, the everyday things there, yeah, makes it hard for us living here. Yeah,
I think she said almost everything. The language is number one, but practically speaking, if you don't know the language, you can't really enjoy the life here. There are so many apps, but if you cannot read, you cannot benefit from the apps. You go to a restaurant without pictures, how do you order the food you want? So the language makes life a little challenging, but yeah, it's also very possible and easy to grasp the language. So if you are determined, you can pick it up. So yeah, for now, these are the challenges.
You have been living in China for 12 years. What are some of the downside or struggles of foreigners in China?
I think the key struggles is that you have to be patient. I guess it depends on which country you come from, of course, or which continent, but patience in the way that that's on a level of understanding. So you also have the double negotiation, as we call it. So if you ask a question, do you understand? They can say yes, but actually it means no, or vice versa. And that takes a while before you understand this kind of communication. And patience definitely means that some things can go fast, but some things can work on your nerves, but that's more related to your own background instead of understanding the situation. So patience to understand the situation or the other one's background on why it sometimes takes a while, or misunderstanding that you order something, you get something different. Why the F you see comes that from? Well, this kind of understanding takes a while.
Living here, what are some of the everyday struggles that you go through?
Mainly, I guess it's language. Of course, there are not that many people that speak English. Some signs are Chinese lettering only, a lot in English. And then, of course, I guess the most complicated thing is this is let's say a modern country, so you work a lot with apps, and many apps are Chinese only. So you permanently struggle to complete these apps and find all what I want for shopping or traveling. It makes it really complicated in my mind.
Okay, you have been living in China for over 3 years now. What are some of the struggles, what are some of the challenges that foreigners go through in China?
Chinese people are very cooperative, what I have observed. But the issue is that, especially the language issue, you know. So my advice is that when you are coming to China, it is good to learn Chinese language earlier. Or when you are coming here, kindly spend some time on it so that you may be familiar with it. Because it is, if you really understand the language, you will enjoy a lot beside your studies. So that's great to learn Chinese, to get experience. So what I have observed that students who have good Chinese, they can frequently communicate with the Chinese people, and we are only observing them, and just we normally mostly communicate in non-verbals, or a little bit speaking just to ni hao and some little bit phrases of Chinese. But if you are good at Chinese, you will enjoy.
All right, thank you so much.